When a federal judge halted Trump's border order, he refrained from tweeting. He strode directly into the Supreme Court, confronting John Roberts head-on while the entire nation looked on. The leather chair emitted a gentle creak as Donald Trump reclined, his gaze fixed on the television screen positioned above the fireplace in the Oval Office. The news ticker at the bottom remained static for the last 30 minutes. A federal judge has halted the deportation order, declaring the Trump administration in contempt. He remained utterly still. Across the room, Caroline Driscoll, his press secretary, lingered by the doorway, her iPad held tightly against her chest as if it were a protective barrier. She understood it was wise to remain silent when the president was contemplative. James Boasberg, Trump finally stated, his tone devoid of emotion. Does he really believe he's in charge of the country now? Caroline moved ahead. Judge Boasberg's decision references the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. I'm aware of what it references, Trump retorted, maintaining a calm demeanor while cutting through the atmosphere with his words. He unearthed the most ancient, dust-covered statute he could drape in contemporary indignation and dubbed it justice. On the coffee table before him rested a substantial binder brimming with detailed immigration policies, border maps, court transcripts, and pages heavily marked in red ink. Trump rose to his feet. They're challenging me to step out of line, tempting me to make a move that would have them shouting dictator on television for the next 5 weeks. Pam Bondi stepped in from the West Wing hallway, clad in dark navy, devoid of jewelry, armed only with a notepad and an expression that conveyed she had faced challenges and emerged victorious. "It's no longer just El Paso," she remarked. "Boasberg's ruling has already caused delays in flights from Phoenix, Tucson, and Brownsville. ICE is in disarray." Trump regarded her, his jaw clenched tightly. "We are upholding immigration law, yet they label it a constitutional crisis." Pam leafed through her notes. "It goes beyond that. They are getting ready to initiate contempt proceedings. Engaging in deceitful conduct." Those were his words, spoken openly, documented for all to see. A moment of silence lingered in the air. Trump gazed through the bulletproof glass, his eyes fixed on the expanse of the South Lawn. For a moment he was oblivious to the reporters and the cameras. He gazed beyond their presence, searching for something in the distance, somewhere far away. He echoed the word with a hint of amusement, a smirk playing on his lips. "They once remarked on my tweets, but now their comments arise when I attempt to fortify the border." At last Caroline found her voice. "The media is already on the hunt. If we remain silent, they will craft the narrative on our behalf." "Good," Trump remarked without looking back. "Allow them to express themselves through writing." He re-entered the room, his voice gaining power. "We'll provide them with a topic worth exploring." Pam arched an eyebrow, conveying her determination not to let a bench full of cloaked activists overshadow the authority of those who appointed her. If Roberts seeks to safeguard that system, then he should stand up for it openly. Caroline's breath hitched. "Do you wish to speak before the court?" Trump avoided giving a straightforward response. He approached the desk, opened the drawer, and retrieved a folded printout of Judge Boasberg's order. He raised it as if it were a crucial piece of evidence in a trial. "We'll find out if their commitment to transparency holds true under the bright lights and in front of the cameras." Pam let out a sharp breath. "You're confronting them in real time. Every single one of them," Trump declared, beginning with John Roberts. "If he believes this is merely about procedure, he clearly hasn't been observing closely enough." Caroline anxiously tapped her screen. "There will be allegations of turning the judiciary into a political arena." "It's not about politics," Trump stated. "I'm revealing it." He took a moment, then turned his gaze toward the two women. "The citizens of America did not cast their votes for federal judges. They chose a leader, and I refuse to witness this system morph into a judicial monarchy while they feign safeguarding democracy." Pam inclined her head with deliberation. "It seems we should brace ourselves for an impending tempest." Trump offered a subtle smile. "Allow it to arrive." What began in a courtroom was on the verge of exploding before the eyes of the entire nation. The declaration struck Washington with the force of a brick, yet it was cloaked in elegance. It was not a press conference. No platform. No catchy phrases. A concise PDF has been uploaded to the Supreme Court's official site at 9:03 a.m. However, by 907, every newsroom, blog, and phone screening across America was ablaze with the same headline. Chief Justice Roberts addresses Trump's impeachment request. Pam Bondi reviewed it twice before entering the West Wing briefing room. "This isn't a defense of the courts," she said softly, passing the printout to Caroline. "This serves as a cautionary note." Caroline perused the page. Roberts's words were precise and deliberate. Impeachment is an unsuitable reaction to a legal dispute with a judge. The judiciary should uphold its independence, regardless of whether its decisions are met with disapproval or pose challenges. Trump was not present in the Oval Office. He found himself in the Roosevelt Room, engaging in conversation with Senator Felix Morton from Florida and DHS Deputy Director Carl Higdon. Both individuals had freed up their agendas. As soon as Roberts began to speak, it was clear that Trump would not remain quiet. "He's putting on a show," Morton remarked, twirling a pen between his fingers, attempting to convey to America that the courts hold a revered status. Trump placed his coffee on the table. "Hallowed earth? It has become a war zone." Carl inclined his body closer. "The order from Bosberg was not reviewed. That was a deliberate act of undermining. They've begun to obstruct policy before it even arrives." Trump acknowledged with a nod. Now Roberts seeks refuge in tradition, as if the robes grant them immunity. He rose, a motion that commanded an immediate hush from those around him. This transcends mere policy considerations. It's all about mastery. Pam slipped in silently, setting the statement down before him. Trump had no need to peruse it. He was already familiar with the tone. Roberts maintained a calm demeanor, never raising his voice. He enveloped you in a cascade of phrases crafted to resonate through time. "What's the perspective?" Morton inquired. Carolyn was already with them. "The media will portray it as a plea for togetherness, showcasing composed guidance amidst turmoil. However, the foundation perceives it for what it truly is, a diversion." Trump stated that they aim to grant judges permanent veto authority. "They seem uninterested in securing electoral victories. They aim to obstruct anyone who attempts it." He made his way to the fireplace with a deliberate pace, the very one that has captivated the gaze of presidents since the time of Roosevelt. "We provided them with ample time to resolve this issue. What actions did they take? Panels were held, and speeches were delivered. And now, as I take action, they cry out against oppression." Pam folded her arms across her chest. "What's your strategy, Mr. President?" Trump took his time before responding. He pivoted and cast his gaze upon them, not as peers, but as comrades ready to receive a strategic briefing. He stated that they seek decisions from the courtroom. "We shall provide them with cameras for the courtroom." Felix Morton arched an eyebrow. "You're quite earnest. I would like to have a live session. I desire Roberts seated opposite me, with the American public observing closely. There are no declarations. No footnotes have been redacted. I desire faces. I seek responsibility." Carl Higdon appeared hesitant. "Do you believe they'll come to an agreement?" "There will be no options," Trump responded. "I will present it as a legal gathering, a nationwide conference focused on judicial restraint. It is often claimed that there is a desire for openness. Let's put that theory to the test." Carolyn was immersed in her work on her iPad. "The media will inundate it. Roberts will appear evasive if he declines." Felix let out a laugh, a mix of amusement and skepticism. "This will shatter all previous norms we've encountered." Trump resumed his gaze on the Bosberg order, studying it intently. That judge certainly made a significant impact by overruling the entire Department of Homeland Security with just one signature. Pam let out a breath through her nostrils. "Next, we require a name, something that resonates powerfully." Trump paused to reflect. "Refer to it as the National Judicial Reform Summit." Carolyn lifted her gaze. "Are you aiming for the Supreme Court?" Trump responded with a firm no. "I desire it to be within the Supreme Court." Silence enveloped the room. The consequences were unmistakable. This transcended mere words or declarations. This was an invitation to face the challenge head-on. One branch stands against another, with no veils remaining to conceal the truth. Felix cast a glance at Pam. He is earnest. Trump gave a single nod. They sought a battle they could conquer without a sound. I'm pulling it into the open. However, Trump had no intention of replying with a tweet. This time, he craved a microphone and a platform to express himself. The formal invitation arrived in inboxes shortly after the clock struck midnight. There are no leaks, no press hints, and no anonymous aides murmuring behind closed doors. A formal correspondence dispatched from the president's office, bearing the official seal, and directed to the Supreme Court. You are cordially invited to take part in the National Judicial Reform Summit, which will be conducted live and recorded within the esteemed chamber of the Supreme Court. The aim is to engage in public discussion regarding judicial authority, nationwide injunctions, and the constitutional balance of power. At 8 a.m., the news had erupted. CNN described it as a bold maneuver. Fox sprinted as Trump calls for responsibility from the judiciary. MSNBC referred to it as a mere stunt. Yet it was impossible for anyone to overlook it. Chief Justice John Roberts perused the invitation quietly. He chose not to hold a press conference. No statement was issued by him. He convened with three of his colleagues, Justices Linda Young, Edward Salazar, and Ketanji Brown Jackson, in a secluded room adjacent to the East Hallway. Roberts laid the letter down smoothly on the gleaming table. He aims to transform this into a broadcasted showdown. Young remarked, a frown crossing his face. This has never been attempted before. He's not making a request, Salazar murmured. He's challenging us to refuse. Jackson inclined his body, eager to engage. Should we overlook it? Ignore it? Shall we have a private meeting? Roberts gazed at the paper, his expression inscrutable. We are present. By refusing, we give him the story that suggests we're concealing something, that we're fearful. Young dismissed the notion with a shake of her head. This is not a discussion board. This is a snare. Roberts finally lifted his gaze. Then we'll approach with clarity and composure. He's arriving for the show. We will reply with respect. That's the boundary we establish. Meanwhile, in a room adorned with flags and framed maps, Trump was presenting a contrasting narrative. We're not merely making an appearance, he conveyed to his team. We are orchestrating a moment of truth. The summit promises to be a momentous occasion. Photography would be permitted, each word captured. 2 lecterns stand, one adorned with the seal of the Supreme Court, the other graced by the eagle crest of the presidency. Carolyn was on her 3rd cup of coffee, diligently crafting press credentials. In just 3 hours, we've received more than 200 media inquiries. Global media outlets are clamoring for access to the floor. Pam Bondi evaluated the security protocols. We will require federal marshals, Capitol Police, Secret Service, and the entire network. This transcends mere politics. It's a grand display. Felix Morton entered, clutching a neatly folded copy of the Roberts statement. He has confirmed his attendance. He is accompanied by 3 justices. He mentioned that he prefers not to prepare any remarks and would rather speak spontaneously. Trump smiled, yet the expression lacked genuine amusement. It was intention. Flawless. The more raw and genuine, the more impactful. Caroline lifted her gaze. What is the objective? Trump rested against the table's edge. To shatter the facade. They've cloaked themselves in formality for so long that they believe it renders them invulnerable. The public must perceive them not merely as icons, but as individuals capable of making mistakes. Pam paused, uncertainty flickering in her mind. And if they attempt to turn the tables, portraying you as the villain, he remained unfazed. Allow them to be deceived. The distinction lies in my accountability to the electorate. They were accountable to no one. Preparations are progressing swiftly. At the close of the day, a team from the architect of the Capitol had successfully set up lighting within the chamber. The lecterns were arranged. Sound checks have been conducted. The perimeter was thoroughly examined by the Secret Service. Outside, journalists claimed their spots on the sidewalk, equipped with folding chairs and thermoses. Demonstrators assembled on either side of the structure, banners held high. A collective voice rose in unison, advocating for the autonomy of the judiciary. The other carried banners proclaiming, "Let the people govern." At 10 p.m., Trump found himself solitary in the vacant East Room of the White House, gazing at the newly printed notes nestled in his folder. No one had crafted their words. It was merely him, his reflections, his cautions. Felix entered with a soft step. "Are we all set for tomorrow?" Trump kept his gaze fixed on the paper. "We're exceptional." He gently shut the folder. "Tomorrow, the nation will learn what was meant to remain hidden." However, what Trump was about to express in front of the camera took everyone by surprise. Never before had the Supreme Court chamber witnessed such an event. Never before in its storied past had a sitting president faced the Chief Justice of the United States directly, not mediated by lawyers or legal documents, but within the very halls of American jurisprudence, with cameras capturing every moment and the nation observing intently. At exactly 11 o'clock in the morning, Donald Trump made his entrance from the East Corridor. Without a teleprompter or polished notes, just a sleek leather folder tucked under one arm and an unwavering gaze. He failed to wave. He remained expressionless. He approached his podium as if he had entered countless rooms before, solitary, composed, and ready to share his thoughts. Opposite him, Chief Justice John Roberts presided at the forefront of his bench, accompanied by Justices Young, Salazar, and Jackson. His hands rested together in front of him, posture upright, composed, restrained, deliberate, as was his custom. The sharp sound of camera shutters echoed around the perimeter of the room. Live feeds were already up and running. Fox, CNN, MSNBC, and various smaller networks all displayed the same banner. The judicial summit emerged from the Supreme Court. Trump surveyed the room briefly before he started to speak. "When I vowed to protect this nation, I never anticipated finding myself in a setting like this, addressing not foreign adversaries, but confronting a quiet formality," he remarked. "Yet here we find ourselves," he paused. "A federal judge has recently prevented my administration from deporting individuals we consider a threat under laws that have been in place longer than most of the people in this chamber. When we uphold the law regardless, as the law should take precedence over interpretation, we find ourselves facing accusations of bad faith." He presented the folded order from Judge Boasberg. "This is not legislation. This is a powerful advantage." Roberts stood still, unmoving. The cameras shifted momentarily to his expression, which remained inscrutable. Trump pressed on. "Now we are being advised that impeachment is not suitable, that we should exercise patience, seek appeal, and adhere to the established process. But how long should one wait when judges nullify policies before they even come into effect? How many injunctions will it take before those who sought change see none of it?" His tone was calm, yet infused with intensity. This nation was not established for a select group of unaccountable legal professionals to govern it in secrecy. He shifted his gaze just a bit in Roberts' direction. "Chief Justice, I express this with regard for your role, yet not for your principles. When the masses demand action and the judiciary responds with silence, it is not neutrality. It is capitulation." Roberts leaned in slightly, readjusting his glasses with care. Then, with a steady and clear tone, he replied, "Mr. President, with all due respect, this institution is not here to mirror public fervor, but to moderate it. Judicial bodies are not mechanisms for salvaging ineffective policies. They do not serve as tools for immediate political action." Trump remained silent.